What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Chess Giant. This is Solomon or Delta. Today's video, we're going to be covering why sometimes a long journey castle, especially in the Hippo, isn't so bad. So y'all, you just heard me mention this idea of a long journey castle. And when I say this, I actually don't mean castling queenside, right? Oftentimes this is seen as kind of a long castle because your rook is jumping 3 squares, but that's actually not what I mean here. First off, if you've never heard of the Hippo, I've made way too many videos about it, okay, over 25 now. And really in the Hippo, we're trying to get exactly this, right? We're trying to fiend shadow both of our bishops, put our centralized pawns on this 6th rank as well, tuck those knights closely behind, and oftentimes throw in moves like a6, as well as using here the h-pawn and playing h6. Both of these sideline pawn moves are actually extremely important, and I have some other content showing why. All that being said, if you've reached this position as a Hippo player, you're doing a great job. You've got exactly what you want. You got the Hippopotamus brick wall ready to go. At the same time, White's actually doing a good job too. Okay, they've just been kind of developing their pieces. I would say that I think a 3-pawn center is a little bit better than a 2-pawn center, but all that being said, they've been developing their pieces. They made a little bit of space on the queen side, and they're really not trying to attack us too quickly. Okay, one of the biggest mistakes the opponent can make is trying to really just win against the Hippo in 10 or 15 moves. Oftentimes people see it, they think it's silly, and they think they should be able to win against it. But as a Hippo player, that's exactly what we want. The system is extremely sound defensively, and White simply cannot take it out in one punch. Okay, so White here is doing a good job too, and doing a good job in the sense that they're kind of just sitting there and going, okay, Hippo player, you set up your brick wall. What are you going to do now, right? Now, first off, we're not wanting to castle kingside here. Okay, in the Hippo, oftentimes we do castle kingside, but not in this scenario because we already have our pawn on h6, and we have a bishop and a queen aimed directly at it. Here, White is just going to take out this pawn. And, okay, I mean, we're just down a pawn now. Obviously, taking this bishop on h6 isn't going to help anything because this queen will become extremely active with knight g5 ideas in the air at that point. So, y'all, we simply cannot castle kingside because of all this pressure on h6. What other options do we have? Well, I do want to mention we could play a move here like g5. I personally, I don't know if I'd play g5 right now simply because of the fact that White has so much pressure against it after this move of h4 at some point. I think one other good option is actually this move of knight f6. I like this move. As we covered in our last video, we want to attack the weak pawn. The weak pawn here in the center is actually the pawn e4 because it only has 1 defender. This pawn on d4 currently has 4. Right, so this pawn's a much bigger weakness, and White actually has to worry about it now, right? White has to worry about this pawn e4, and if they play a move like bishop t3, we're simply going to bring our knight to a square like g4, attacking the bishop, going back 1 move, by the way. If they don't defend it with a move like bishop d3 and play a move like e5, okay, we can centralize this knight with either knight e4 or my personal favorite, knight fd5. And if they play a move like d5, we lock this game down with e5, which is exactly what we want. So knight f6 is a good idea. But all that being said, as a Hippo player, you actually have all the time in the world here, okay? And that's because White's pawn, the pawn breaks that White has aren't very good, okay? And really by long-term journey, I mean this move king f8, okay? Again, we can't castle because this rook would no longer be defending the pawn. But what I mean here is just playing king f8, king g8, and king h7, okay? It takes quite a bit of time, but there's really nothing White can do about it, and there's nothing White can do here to take advantage of it. I mean, going back to this move of king f8, a lot of you may be wondering, okay, I mean, you know, this is all great and all, you know, just kind of slowly castling and defending the pawn on h6, but what happens if White just tries to break through here? Don't they have a lot of time? Well, notice if White plays too aggressively here, it actually hurts them more than it helps them. If they play a move like a5, we can play b5, kicking this bishop. We're now looking at b4 options, attacking the knight, which is the key defender of that centralized pawn on e4. Going back a couple of moves here, if White plays a move like e5, we're just going to lock this game down with d5 and then play c5, putting pressure on d4. Also looking at knight c6, just building up more pressure. c4 ideas in the air as well if a knight or a queen ever comes to e2, because, I mean, if White does play a move like knight e2, this bishop is simply trapped, right? And going back against king f8 here, if White goes for a move like d5, again, we're not breaking this game open, right? That goes against the principles of the Hippo. We're going to play e5, continue to slowly castle this king, and eventually look to break through with an f5 push, going for the base of this centralized pawn chain. All that being said, just wanted to mention that if you're in a position like this and your opponent's kind of just sitting there waiting for you to do something as well, on top of the 4 key ideas, right, of playing either b5 and g5, or using a flank pawn, or even pushing in the center, and finally using a knight, if none of those are really, getting you in that kind of position, if you're not really excited about any of those in any kind of specific situation, just slowly castle your king and see if white's going to make a mistake by pushing in the center or pushing on the edge of the board. As always, thanks for watching today's video. Let me know down in the comment section below what other content you'd like to see. And as always, I wish you guys a great day. Keep it real, keep it chill. Peace. Hey, I wanted to give a big shout out to my December 2022 Patreon community. I'm honored and humbled by y'all's support for this vision of the channel. And if you haven't checked out the Patreon community before, go check it out. There's some pretty fun benefits that you gain by joining the crew. Thanks for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.